there's a game we can't afford to lose. There's a game we can't put the result at risk, but at the same time, we want to be, if we can, on the winning side here. West Ham was one of those games.
This was always going to be a difficult fixture, but Leeds got their noses in front thanks to a deft touch from Vinnie Jones. West Ham fought hard as they tried to find a leveller, but determined defending from Chris Fairclough. He was ably supported by Mervyn Day, who had an inspirational afternoon, kept West Ham at bay. Day, first of all, pulling off a near-post save to deny Mark Ward. Then reacting quickly, coming off his line to block George Paris. Leeds climbed to third in the table. However, it wasn't the Leeds run that the London press concentrated on.
The press slagged us off, and we bored we were boring. We played off sides, you know, and that's what happens, you know. And listen, we were successful that season, you know, and being boring is totally opposite to what the players played for Leeds United here, what we had. We had a good side. We weren't boring. It were very, very good management.
When you play against West Ham, they've got this image of this football academy nonsense. They play the pure football and bits and bobs. And it didn't bother to me one little bit.
It was a very, very professional performance. We were slaughtered for it. So what? I mean, you know, that's their prerogative.
When you're in good form and when you're at the top of your particular league, whichever league it is, if you can go away to teams that are around you and do that to them, then you know you've got a chance that season.
When Sunderland came to Ellen Road, it was always going to be a tense affair. The team sat second and third in the league, both desperate to keep up with pace-setters Sheffield United. Leeds' set-piece skills were all too much for Sunderland. Bobby Davison found himself free in the box, 1-0 to Leeds. Then, when Chris Fairclough finished off a Jones long throw, Leeds were well in front. Fairclough was proving a very valuable aerial asset. And Jones and Fairclough were involved again. Leeds hitting the bar and the post. Sunderland saved on those occasions. It was an impressive performance from Leeds, not totally portrayed by the scoreline. The run that Leeds put together saw them leapfrog Sunderland into second place in the table, and 3 days later they travelled south to Fratton Park to face Portsmouth, and when Leeds were 3-1 up, nobody could possibly have foreseen the outcome. After a goalless first half, it was Bobby Davison who pounced first to give Leeds the lead. Then, just 4 minutes later, Mike Whitlow powered a shot home from well outside the box. Peter Haddock was then unlucky as the referee judged he'd handled the ball, giving Portsmouth a lifeline. But a Mel Sterling special restored Leeds' 2-goal advantage.
We scored the third goal, and they had a player called Martin Cool who played in midfield. And Vinnie Jones looked across at me and said to me, Stan. And I said, yes, Vinnie. He went, this is the easiest effing bonus money I have got today. And that Cool wasn't happy. He wasn't an happy person.
With just 60 seconds left on the clock, Guy Whittingham curled in a beauty. Then amazingly, straight from the kickoff, the ball was played back. The result should have been secure, but Day and Sterling panicked. And guess what? Up popped Whittingham again. 3-3.
You've got to take that one on the chin. The performance overall was very, very good. The performance overall. And then it takes a few minutes, lapse of concentration to destroy a result.
I can remember Mervyn Day chucking the ball out to me, and I've turned to open my body up. I got closed down, decided to pass the ball back to Mervyn Day, and Mervyn Day were too slow coming off his line. Well, that's what my excuse is. And I think it was Whittingham, Guy Whittingham, who went round the goalkeeper and put it into an empty goal, and Martin Cool came up to me and Vinnie Jones and says, "You're not getting any bonus today," and that really killed and hurt me and Vinnie.
We've never really cleared up whose fault it was, but I'm sure he's blaming me, but I'm definitely blaming him. Because if he says Merv was slow off his line, he always knew I was slow off my line, so he should have put it a bit further back to me.
Vinnie Jones shouting to Birdie, "Birdie, doing a holding job." I kept shouting at Birdie this, "I'm doing a holding job." And Birdie, "Vinnie, what are you talking about?" He says, "Holding me win bonus." Bang, bang, 3-3.
The lapse in concentration had been a real disappointment for the players. As for Wilkinson, he said they should learn from that and not do it again. What he was looking for was an immediate response, and here it was that the class of Bobby Davison shone through yet again. Strachan delivers the corner, and Bobby Davison scores the first for Leeds. A stapling header from Leeds' leading goal scorer. Leeds have plenty of men up, and Davison is here, and Davison scores for Leeds. What a glorious cross it was as well. Davison perfectly positioned to pounce. It's in the back of the Bradford net. The Leeds fans are ecstatic.
Local derby, you know, we needed to get the result. We needed a clean sheet, and it was Mark Hazelwood that made it so sweet.
Copybook goal this. Hazelwood's header against his old club, and Mervyn Day, a brilliant save.
Obviously it was Mark, who had been a colleague, and it's always nice to get one over on your colleagues. But he met the header really well, and you know, I just felt it's everything you work on in training came to fruition in that one sort of moment.
Plymouth Argyle came to Ellen Road at the start of November. They'd got some experienced players, but they were no match for Bobby Davison in particular. He was in a rich vein of form. He picked up Mel Sterling's excellent ball, and then Rhys Wilmot took his legs away. Penalty. And the ever-reliable Strachan put it away. However, Andy Thomas's equaliser did put a temporary halt to celebrations. Then when Andy Thomas became involved again, this time it was for the wrong reasons. The Leeds winner, his misplaced back pass seized on by Davison, who nipped it beyond Wilmot and into the empty net. The Leeds striker again demonstrating his clinical finishing. Unfortunately, after reaching the personal landmark of scoring in 5 successive games, Davison was affected with troublesome injuries. He wouldn't score again until April.
And I know, you know, it broke Peter Lormer's record, because I think he had the record of 4-4 or whatever. But it was something in, wait a minute, I'm just doing my job. You know, 10 and 10 is probably, yeah. I'll talk about 10 and 10, but 5 and 5 is not a big deal.
I'd seen him, and I knew he could score a goal. I knew he could finish. And whatever it is you do, you know, the ultimate act is scoring.
Harry Redknapp brought his Bournemouth side to Ellen Road at the start of November, and they would provide a very different sort of test to the previous visitors. The Cherries didn't really offer much of a threat to Leeds, and Ian Baird ended his goal drought with his 3rd of the season. A typical diving header from the enthusiastic striker. Once again, the visiting team couldn't handle the pace of Bobby Davison, and he it was who won Leeds another penalty. Strachan fired in, and the writing now was surely on the wall for Bournemouth. It certainly was when Chris Fairclough once again proved his worth in the box. Redknapp's Bournemouth hadn't really offered much. Leeds had now taken maximum points from 4 games and topped the table along with Sheffield United on 35 points. Leeds had really come down to earth with a bump by losing to Leicester City, though Filbert Street has rarely been a happy hunting ground for the club, and there had been 2 dubious goals. Nonetheless, Howard Wilkinson was voted Manager of the Month for Division 2 just prior to the visit of Watford. After the Leicester game, Leeds must have thought the luck was really going against them. Watford saved by the post early on. Having said that, Leeds' finishing was poor, and it was Watford who took the lead. A new £500,000 signing, Gary Penrice, finding the net. As you'd expect, Leeds piled on the pressure in search of an equaliser. Inevitably it came from a Strachan set piece. His corner flicked on by Baird. Again it was Fairclough who proved to be the saviour as he levelled things up. And Ian Baird was again involved in the winning goal. His persistence on the edge of the box, leading eventually to him getting in a shot which the keeper could only parry into the path of Andy Williams. And this was another valuable contribution from one of the other lesser-known heroes of the season. Andy Williams scoring his second in 2 games as Leeds came from behind for the first time since August. But there was more frustration for Leeds as they slipped up away at West Brom. They had to be more consistent as the top of the league was getting tight. There were now 4 teams who looked as though they could well be title contenders. Sheffield United were top of the table, Sunderland, resilient, were down in 4th, and Leeds United was second, 2 points ahead of Newcastle United, who came to Ellen Road looking to do the double. And Howard Wilkinson knew only too well they had one player in particular who might be troublesome.
Well, I decided we were going to go man-to-man on Beardsley, which probably a lot of people didn't notice other than the Newcastle manager and the Newcastle players. Basically it was then we got 9 and they've got 9 out there. Let's our 9 beat their 9 and let's make sure that how we play and what we do is good enough to beat their 9, because in the situation we will have the better team.
Baird was up there, Strachan wanted some time. It was a good little effort from Gordon Strachan. He took it on the chest first. Will it be Dillon? Will it be Brock? It'll be Brock. And there's a clean header for Mark McGee. And they allowed him quite a lot of space, really. McGee got a powerful header in, but Mervyn Day was there. Thumps it up towards the penalty area. And a header on is from Fairclough, and here's a chance for Baird. What an excellent save by John Berridge. Well, Jim Smith was talking before the game about the intimidating Ellen Road atmosphere. That could even be why he's taken Gallagher off. Gallagher couldn't even get in Falkirk's first team 12 months ago. To be fair, he did take a bit of a knock as well. But it's Leeds attacking at the start of the second half. Baird! Oh, and Davison ends up in the net. That would have been spectacular. Now McGee to Brock. That was good football. And the cross is useful as well as Quinn tries to turn. Here's a chance. What a good save by Mervyn Day.
I broke 2 ribs actually that game. And I carried on playing, as you do. And Gordon Strachan picked the ball up on the right-hand side, and I'd gone on an overlap. And I'm thinking, I don't want it. Please don't give it me. Don't give it me, Gordon. And he sent a great ball onto my chest. And I took it in my stride. I had 1 touch and just delivered a great ball into the box, and in come Ian Baird with a diving header.
Strachan for Leeds, switches the point of the play. Jones. Over the top, this is dangerous, Sterling. Where's the cross for Baird? What a goal for Leeds! And if anybody deserves it today, it's Ian Baird. He's given everything, and he's got everything now.
It's tough for Birdie because Birdie worked extremely hard. Great strike partner to have, but it's a massive win, especially when you beat probably one of the favourites as well in that league.
The referee looks at that watch, and the Leeds fans are desperate for that final whistle. They've got a final whistle indeed. That's what they wanted. It's what they've got, and they've gotten 3 points too. A single goal from Ian Baird after 71 minutes separates these 2 promotion contenders.
If you look back on the season, we did not lose many key games.
That result against Newcastle really sent a message out to the rest of the league. Now Wilco wanted to follow it up with another one, but against Middlesbrough at Ayresome Park, and he was forced into changes. Injuries to Bobby Davison and Ian Baird meant there were chances for John Pearson and Carl Shutt. If Wilkinson was looking for a quick response from the replacements in the team, he certainly got them. First, Carl Shutt showed terrific strength, racing onto a David Batty through ball to put Leeds 1 up. Then, unfortunately, due to the vast travelling support, celebrations spilled onto the pitch. The players had to take shelter in the changing rooms while the problem was sorted out.
I remember getting out the dugout and going behind the goal, and actually, first of all, shouting and then being able to talk to the crowd behind the goal, and actually, you know, get the ones at the back to understand that there was a problem down at the front. And there were kids down there, and girls and women. The people at the back weren't aware of that. We did manage to sort out the situation, and possibly, you know, with the help of the stewards and the police, etc., prevent the game having to be abandoned.
Another Strachan corner was flicked on, and Leeds got their second goal, courtesy of Chris Fairclough. The goal-scoring centre-half is always a massive bonus for any club. Leeds were now looking for a third goal, and they thought they'd got it. The well-placed Carl Shutt put in the header, but the goal was disallowed for a foul. Even so, it was the indispensable Fairclough who won most praise from the manager.
I had him down for minimum 5-6 goals off set pieces in a season. And you can never predict when they're going to occur, but I knew that he would get that number. And it just happened that Middlesbrough his name was on the ball and he was in the right place, and you knew that if that was the case, that would happen.
Well, that win was Leeds' first at Middlesbrough for 14 years, and it took them top of the table for 24 hours. Then Sheffield United regained top spot by beating Swindon Town. Next to Ellen Road would be Barry Lloyd's Brighton. Bobby Davison was still out, but Carl Shutt kept his place, and there was one surprise inclusion. Back from injury, John Hendry.
I must admit, I might have only played about 1, maybe 2 games in the reserves, if that. And sort of, I remember Wilco threw me straight back in against Brighton.
Leeds swept aside Brighton with ease. This time, Strachan, the usual provider, was on the receiving end, eventually bundling home a Hendry cross at the second attempt. Maybe not the prettiest of goals, but they all count just the same. And it was John Hendry, happily restored to the side after injury, who pounced for the second goal. Jones's long throw-in and Fairclough slip causing panic in the Brighton defence. Hendry there to power in the loose ball. What a great personal delight. And once he'd finished smothering Hendry, Vinnie Jones scored one of his best goals in a Leeds shirt, taking the ball from Strachan and curling it beyond the goalkeeper into the bottom corner. It was the perfect finish to another excellent team performance. And now for one of the biggest matches of the season, perfectly timed as well, because it was Boxing Day as Leeds United travelled down the M1 to take on Sheffield United at Bramall Lane.
There's big games that you need to win that are going to be, they're worth more than just the 3 points. And I know we always say it's just another 3 points and so on, but there's some games that are worth more than the 3 points, and that was one of them.
It was very important for probably the Sheffield lads, like John Pearson's, obviously Wilco, Mel Sterland, because they were ex-Wednesdayites, and they were sort of right fired up for that one. They were saying, come on, if there's any game that we want to win, it's down here at Bramall Lane.
It's local derby, 100 mile an hour. You know, the ball's not settled down. There's not much passing. It's, you know, I think it's just adrenaline's flowing, and you know, everybody's wanting to win tackles, and as you do. And we'd got a free kick, and I think it must have been 35 yards out. And, you know, Gordon Strachan said to me, "Hey, big man, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, Gordon, I fancy hitting this."
So I said, "You're wasting your time. And it's just too far away," because it wasn't even an angle to it when I could see, well, he's got to put an angle or something. It was just a straightforward hit.
No. Please, no. You know, it ain't possible from there.
I said, "Just leave it, Gordon." And Gordon said, "Right, go on, away you go."
But once he started running, it seemed a certainty.
I knew it was going in because I had the contact of the ball, you know, as you strike it. People know when you strike a ball well, and I knew, and it just, you know, it just went low and then it just risen just into the top corner, and, you know, Simon Tracy had no chance. It was just great just to score against Sheffield United and score for Leeds United against them. And, you know, obviously I went to do a little dance around the corner flag. The reason I did that is because there was a guy in the local pub where I go, and he's a big Sheffield United fan, and he bet me a fiver, but I wouldn't score against Sheffield United, and I just thought, well, a fiver, it's worth a fiver, that. And I asked him where he stood, and it's unbelievable where he said he stood. He said in the cop end to the right, where the players come out, and I thought, well, that's fine. So I scored this goal, and obviously I've just ran to the corner flag and danced around the corner flag and seen the guy. Believe it or not, and this is a gospel, the guy was there. He hadn't paid me that fiver, by the way, yet. I'm still waiting on it, you know, Jules. But and I saw the guy then, I just danced around the corner flag, and I just thought, absolutely fantastic. I took a fiver off a piggy, and I scored for Leeds United, which is unbelievable. And yeah, you know, memories, you know, you don't forget them. They're all fantastic things to keep hold of.
The game certainly lived up to everybody's expectations, and after Sterling's spectacular early strike, Sheffield United would hit back. Brian Deane was involved, and when the cross came in from the right, it was Wilf Rostron who placed the shot beyond the diving Day. Then, in a scramble in front of the Leeds keeper, Tony Garner poked the ball over the line. The Leeds were not to be outdone in this crucial clash. Great determined work from Vinnie Jones. The ball slipped through, and it was Carl Shutt who blasted it past Simon Tracy.
So, although it was on as even, Leeds probably felt as though they'd won the day, especially the likes of Mel Sterland and Carl Shutt, who used to go to school together in Sheffield. Just before the new year, Leeds travelled south again for a Yorkshire derby against Barnsley. This was at Oakwell, and the Leeds team included the returning Ian Baird.
All the pressure came from Leeds in the early stages, but their lack of a threat up front, especially in the air, was quickly apparent. So little Strachan decided to take matters into his own hands. He was unlucky as the ball cannoned away off the angle. With the crosses raining in, nobody could make them count. Then, as so often happens in a rare Barnsley attack, it was the Leeds defence that dithered, and Darren Foreman struck. Barnsley a goal to the good. In the second half, it looked as though Leeds had grabbed an equaliser. Vinnie Jones brought the ball down well, and he powered it past the keeper. Unfortunately, and much to his frustration, the goal was disallowed. So Leeds simply kept the aerial bombardment going. But it just wasn't their day. And not even the prolific Chris Fairclough could find a way through.
By now the fans were growing rather concerned about the lack of goals and the failings in front of goal. They knew no slip-ups could be afforded as Joe Royal brought his Oldham Athletic side to Elland Road on New Year's Day.
Oldham started well, but to be fair, they were gifted a goal. Really poor marking. It certainly wasn't going the way the Leeds fans wanted, especially when Ian Baird missed a header in front of goal. It sort of typified the problems felt at the club. But eventually, the game at a point was salvaged by John Hendry switching the ball from one foot to the other and placing it home. Even so, problems were mounting, though Leeds were still top of the table.
Leeds were certainly strong, but there was criticism about a shortage of goals. Wilkinson knew he had a major decision to make, and the one he did make proved crucial to the outcome of the season.
It wasn't difficult for me to say, I think Lee Chapman will get us more goals than Ian Baird will, which is my opinion. The difficult one is actually having to say to someone who's up until then done a terrific job for you, that you've done a terrific job, but I think somebody can do it a little bit better.
Guarantee you put the ball in the box and Chapman will score. He'll put his head in there. If the stud's there, he will put his head in there. And I thought, wow, Wilco's gone out and he knows what he's like. Again, he's worked with him. He knows his qualities. He knows his strengths. And at the time, obviously, he thought we needed somebody up front who's going to be a big lad. And obviously, me and getting down the right wing and getting the crosses in, obviously, I knew for a fact Chapman would be there putting his head on him.
He was an out-and-out goal scorer, he was. I mean, you'd say he was Chappie, I mean, for all his sort of failings in some parts of his play, but you put the ball into the box, he was a brave big so-and-so.
I had said about Chappie that in my team, I can always rely on 20 goals from him in a season. And to sign him at that point and count on the regularity with which he would score from then on into the end of that season was obviously going to be critical.
You have to have people with a striking record, a good striking record, and he had that, and wasn't the quickest, but he knew where players were, and he just wanted the ball in the box all the time. So I think that suited Howard, because that's the way we were going to get through that league, by as many crosses as you can.
He was one for the future, and I think that was the point that Howard was making. He could buy a player that he knew would be right for Division 1 the next season if we got there, and would help us to get there. So no, it was a very clever man, Howard, very clever man.
So Lee Chapman became a Leeds United player. Howard Wilkinson's spending had risen to £3.5 million in just 16 months, but he would get an instant return on his investment.
Leeds travelled to Blackburn with their new signing in the starting lineup, raring to go. However, it was Rovers who made the breakthrough. The prolific Simon Garner pouncing at the far post. Then, with the Leeds defence caught a bit flat-footed, it was only the outside of a post that saved them from going 2 down. The final result had been written in the stars though, and when Gordon Strachan's shot appeared to be heading straight at the keeper, the Leeds new signing stuck out a leg and diverted the ball into the net. And shortly afterwards the new combination struck again. This time Chapman flicked his header into the path of Strachan, who unleashed an unstoppable shot. The game looked to be all over. However, in the final moments, David Batty was adjudged to have given away a penalty. But fortune shone on Leeds. The resultant kick from David May went way over the bar. 3 points were safe for Leeds. They were now 4 points clear at the top of the table. The season had kicked on with the signing of Chapman. It was time for Wilkinson to arrange a stop-off on the way home.
Occasionally, you've got to, you know, physically show that you're enjoying it, and that was one of those occasions where I just thought we need to make sure and ram it home that at the moment we've got a lot to be thankful for, but by the same token, what you can then say is, when you come back in on Monday, you know, it's back to work.
I used to say years and years going by, you never know anyone until you've had a beer with him, and that was very much what we thought. Even though Wilco was professional in his approach, probably the most professional manager I've been under, he did let the boys sort of do their own stuff for the bonding part of the side. It's
important, you know, you stay off and have a few pints and that, and you know, Howard were quite good. You know, he knew what level to go to. He knew for a fact we'd be able to get up next day and train. I think this day and age now, I don't think they could go out on a Tuesday and get up Wednesday and train and that, which, you know, we do, and obviously it's a lot bigger now than what it was when we were playing, because we used to do that for team spirit. But yeah, we stopped and had a few beers, and yeah, job were a good one.